Hold on. Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Nadi Digital Economy Malaysia. And with me is my colleague Dzof. And again, as usual, we're going to pick 4, maybe 5 stories that we feel were quite significant or interesting that happened in the digital economy of Malaysia this past week. And we're going to share our thoughts with you, opinions, and also give some analysis of what they mean. And some big stories this week, right? Something significant that happened. And the first one we're going to talk is that end of this month, which is end of June, our central bank in Malaysia, which is called Bank Negara Malaysia, is going to formally close the applications for digital banking license. So parties can submit a license to be players in this. And what happened this past week was that one of the largest banks in the country, Axiata is not a bank, one of the largest companies, RHB Banking Group, has announced their partnership. They created a joint venture with Axiata Group's subsidiary, which is Boost Holdings, okay, Sdn Bhd, and they formed it in the form of 60-40 equity, where Boost Holdings will have 60% and the traditional bank will have 40%. And I use the word traditional bank deliberately because obviously now they're going to try to get this digital banking license. And I think this is significant because I listened in at the press conference of, and both parties said that they bring their respective strengths to the table. But I feel that actually RHB has the better deal because RHB does not have the digital savviness that the Axiata Group does through Boost, Holdings, where yes. Boost, so for those of you who follow news in Malaysia, Boost is an e-wallet, right? They've been going out and signing up merchants to get onto the platform. And they've got close to 300,000 merchants on their platform now. And significantly, then there's another unit, of Boost here, which is called Aspirasi. And Aspirasi is the micro insurance and micro loans arm of the business group. Okay, so you've got Axiata here having a company in the e-wallet space and in the micro lending, micro insurance space. Very relevant because when you talk about micro insurance, micro lending, it's about the underserved and the non-banked. And this is a sweet spot. And actually, even the Central Bank of Malaysia is giving out these digital banking licenses. And they specifically mentioned also that they want the players to get the license to target the segment of the population that is not being banked and especially that is unbanked. Okay, so underbanked, not being banked, right? It's unbanked and the underserved. Okay, so these two populations. And with RHB, they've scored a coup by partnering with Axiata Group, which is called, through Boost Holdings, to make this partnership. So in the 60-40 ratio, and both the CEOs were talking about how they bring their respective strengths to the table. I think RHB got a better, deal here. And also very interestingly, during our weekly Friday video show that we do for 1 hour, this is only 15 minutes off, as you know. One of the panelists, which is Bikesh Lakmichan, who's one of the leaders in the startup ecosystem in Malaysia, was actually quite firm in his opinion that he thinks the Central Bank of Malaysia should not give a digital banking license to an incumbent bank. Based on him, he says that, look, all these guys are already launching digital services. Why the heck do you want to give them a digital bank license? They don't need that. Give the digital banking license to disruptors, to new players, right? People who can really make a difference. And that was his firm view that the Central Bank should not give it. So, I don't know whether the central bank was listening to that. I know the Malaysian Central Bank is quite sensitive. If you say anything critical of them, it will raise their tentacles or whatever, right? So they'll say, hey, who is this talking to us about this? So why are they being critical?
But I listen with great amusement, Karam, when you say that RHB would benefit from this. I mean, RHB are a large institution. They have resources,
Correct.
I mean, you would think if anyone could learn how to be good digitally, they could, right? But you still feel that Axiata brings a lot to the table.
Totally. Look.
I think what...
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, what I find more interesting is the other news of another potential merger that had been brought up this week, where Permata Digital Berhad had said they are now bringing in Infopro Sdn Bhd as a partner, right? And
so, now neither of these... Permata Digital is a small listed company. Yeah, let's specify.
Yes, they're not a bank. That's the point. Is they're not a bank. They've been around for many years. They were established in 1987, I think, and now they are responsible for products like MyPay, which is a way of paying for government services online.
Services,
similar to MyEG. And they've brought in InfoPro, which is a company that has a lot of experience building backend processes for banks, for example. I think I looked this up, and it seems that they won FinTech Futures Banking Tech Awards last year for their AI-driven digital platform, which, to be frank, I don't know a lot about it, but it sounds really good. And then they've also partnered with another company called Crowdo. And what Crowdo does is they're what they call a neobank, right? And they do AI-powered credit scoring engine.
Okay.
So this is where perhaps your innovation is going to come from, right? These guys who are almost coming up from nowhere and making a proposal.
Look, even with Boost, right? You talk to the CEO of Boost, Holdings, Khairil Abdullah, and look, they're all applying AI, machine learning, analytics in a very serious manner to further slice this underserved, segment. And when you say it's ironic that RHB benefits from this, it's you're going to provide a banking service. Look, this is to a segment of the market that cannot qualify, and this is a global issue, right? They cannot qualify to get into the radar of the traditional banks just because you're stuck with their 3-year track record. And so many of these people cannot. And your micro SMEs are even smaller. It's your guys who selling nasi lemak, right, at the corner. All these guys, roadside stall vendors. These guys cannot. But this is the beauty, because Aspirasi is already doing it. Boost is already doing it. And very two important data points which I wrote down my notes when I was listening to the press conference. Out of the 275,000 merchants that Boost serves, they said that 50% of them are micro SMEs. And that is a sweet market for this digital bank, right? If they get the license, and I think they would be favorites, I would think, without knowing who else is going to throw their hat in the ring, their favorites. This is an incredible market for them to tackle. And even more significant, Aspirasi has given out about $100 million US, which is about 410 million, Malaysian ringgit in micro loans to their client base. And they said something very significant. They said that half of the people they've given these loans out to have never had a banking relationship before. And I mean, that is talk about your greenfield market. So that's why I said that RHB will benefit from this, because RHB has got no visibility of this market at all, whereas Axiata through Boost does. So anyway, that's why this is significant. It's interesting. It also tells you that, but the thing that I don't like also is that, look, Bank Negara said that they're going to take up to 18 months before making their decision. And I totally find this bewildering and puzzling. Because digital banking license, digital banks are already operating in the UK, in Korea, even in Japan, in Singapore. And this is not a green field or a rocket science field. No. Right? The central bank needs so much time. I just hope that it's the maximum period and it'll be done in less than half the time.
I think hopefully it's under promise and over deliver, exactly. As it were. I mean, but the good thing is that perhaps that this is an opportunity for banks to really focus on really innovative solutions, because they're trying to reach out for a segment which traditionally have not reached out.
And look, if they don't, right, there are guys out there hungry who are going to apply for licenses, who are going to go and target this segment market.
I think we need to move on to the next story that we have, which is Accenture Interactive and how they've acquired this Malaysian ad agency, Entropia. What was it that Accenture saw in Entropia, Karam? Because you told me something interesting just now. What did they see in Entropia that made them go for it?
So the backstory to this is that Accenture on a global, so Accenture Interactive is actually Accenture's creative digital arm, okay? And when I say digital from a creative point of view, because Accenture Interactive is already the world's largest digital marketing company, okay, and digital ad services company also, which is astounding. But when I spoke to the Malaysian country head for Accenture, Azwan Baharudin, he says that they cannot get creative talent to join them because they said, wait, Accenture doing creative stuff? No. Despite on a global basis being the largest, creative talent on a country-by-country basis, some don't want to join them, so they're stuck. But anyway, the backstory to this is Accenture on a global basis has been making acquisitions, right, to cement themselves as the gorilla in this market segment. And during one of the global discussions, the Southeast Asian team was asked, how come there are no interesting companies in Southeast Asia for us to look at to possibly acquire? And so Azwan said they started looking in Southeast Asia, and they started looking at Singapore first, okay, because Singapore is the hub for this region. Couldn't find anyone. They moved on to Thailand, because for those of you who don't know, Thailand's advertising agency, creative market agency, has created a nice global reputation as being very creative, very inspirational. Couldn't find a local company there, because they have to look for an entrepreneur-driven company, not a subsidiary of Publicis or one of the global companies. Then they went to Indonesia, couldn't find. Then they came to Malaysia and they found Entropia. And they said, wow, which is this company which has grown to 220 plus, 250 plus creative people? And according to Azwan, the discussion started 2 years ago, Dzof. But the CEO of Entropia and the founder and senior partner, Prashant Kumar, told me that, look, we were not ready to be absorbed by a larger company because we had a 5-year game plan in where we wanted to be. So 2 years after Accenture first approached them, then he said, okay, we are ready. And that's when they made the deal. And significantly, the Accenture MD was saying that Entropia was playing hard to get, which means that they got their valuation. So Accenture had to pay what Entropia wanted to. And according to the Entropia founder, Prashant, is a very fair deal, which I suspect means that Accenture probably feels it wasn't so fair. But credit to them, right? It's a Malaysian-based creative agency that has become of course, on one side, you're sad that a locally entrepreneur-driven company has been absorbed by a global player, and eventually they will lose their identity. But it's kind of worrying that the big one to become even bigger. Accenture's total headcount on a global basis is almost 460,000 people. And this is significant. If you say Walmart has 460,000, many of those are white-collar jobs, right? Blue-collar jobs.
That's right.
Here, these are all white-collar and high-knowledge jobs, which is quite scary how large Accenture is getting on a global basis. But we'll stop with that as to why this was interesting. Let's move on to the third article, and Dzof, you can take the lead with this.
Yeah, I mean, I can do a sort of a segue, because clearly what Accenture is trying to do is to get talents. I mean, they're trying to get their hands on raw talents. That's what
said so.
And
so the same thing, yes.
And then we have a story now about a company called Doc2Us. And what they have done is they have set up a delivery service for pharmaceutical products for medicine, right? But the way they've done it is that they've decided, instead of trying to build something from zero ground up, they've decided to partner with lalamove. They decided to partner with foodpanda to do the delivery aspect of it. And they're using Facebook's Messenger to do the communication with the customers, right? Yep. I mean, I can't decide whether this is like just very, very clever or lazy, or maybe it's the best of both worlds. You sometimes have to be lazy to come up with a really brilliant idea.
Hey, you heard that first, huh? You heard that first at Nadi. Sometimes you have to be lazy to come up with a brilliant idea.
Yeah, because you work very hard to find the clever solution that does the work for you instead of you having to work hard. But I mean, the idea that, especially at this current moment, the idea that you have a company that will send medicine to you from a pharmacy so you don't have to go there yourself is actually such an obvious idea.
Exactly. I would think so.
Why hasn't anyone done this yet, right? So I wish them the best of luck.
Yeah.
They currently have 6,300 patients on the Doc2Us e-pharmacy service. Okay. I think that number should grow, really. I think that there's a huge chance to grow.
I'm sure it will. Okay, comes up. We're running out of time. Let's move on to the last story. And actually, it's two stories combined into one. And this talks about the entrepreneurial flair in Malaysia. The first one is a company called MyGroser, and grocer is spelled with a S instead of C.
Yes.
And look, so basically, it's they're a online, grocery store, right? But when you're doing things like this, you don't own the product. You're buying the product from your Nestle's, your Unilevers, your whatever local brands, and you're aggregating them. Then you're selling them back to the market, right? You're hoping to buy in bulk and sell them. But this is an entrepreneur-driven company, and right now they're at their last gasp. And I think their last gasp because at midnight of Wednesday, they issued an announcement saying that they have, in 48 hours, they hope to raise 800,000 ringgit, which are $195,000 US, for them to continue on as a viable business, because their ability to raise funding has been very slow, and the negotiations are still going on. They are a cash flow crunch now. For me, this is very chilling, Zof, because here you have three co-founders, right, who have done everything right, I think, right? They've put in blood, sweat, tears. They've sacrificed, they've put in their own funding. They have even borrowed money. Okay, they have done everything, and yet they come to the stage where they need help from the market like that. I mean, if listening to what they've done, you just have to throw your arms up, and I'm being melodramatic and ask the startup gods, what more do you need from us, right?
But we know this, Karam, that startups have a tough life. So even tough. Even if you have a good idea and everything's in place, right? I mean, it's just the way things. That's why 90% of startups fail within 3 years.
Right.
Is that
right.
statistic? And the other one you want to compare to was ZeptoExpress, right?
Yeah. So the flip side, so MyGroser was struggling also. They're playing in a space where you've got the big guys like Grab. Grab has raised so much money, $7 billion US in total. They've gone into delivering, grocery items also, which is kind of silly, but they are trying to increase their revenue base. And then you've got like Happy Fresh, and then you've got the established players like Tesco also in this space. So you've got established players, and here you have the startup MyGroser. And now go to ZeptoExpress, a small startup playing in the space of unicorns. lalamove, you mentioned, which is from Hong Kong, and Ninja Van also from Hong Kong, from JNT from Indonesia, all companies which have raised hundreds of millions of US dollars. Here, this tiny Malaysian startup also doing on-demand delivery. And yet this week they announced they raised a small amount, about a low seven-figure, sum in ringgit, which means that probably about at least 250,000 US dollars they've raised. They've managed. I mean,
you say small amount, Karam, but they said that they have ambitions to expand outside, right, to Vietnam and places like that. So, I mean, they have big ambitions now.
It's because technology. So the founder was on our show yesterday also on Tech Talk Friday. He says that they've built their platform. So they will go to the country's small team, and they will license, they will get partners to come and use their platform. So then the partners will go and get the local riders, because here they've got their own riders also, but there they will rely on partners. So they're going to provide their technology platform, which is for on-demand delivery. And this platform is amazing. He said in 2018, Walt Disney Company from Singapore wanted to expand to Malaysia, and they called a tender, and they ended up picking ZeptoExpress's platform. Because back in 2018, according to the founder, ZeptoExpress had a digital platform that you could use online already. Significant, and they built it themselves. A 6-man engineering team built a platform that Walt Disney Company, doing an open tender, said, hey, we like this, we're going to give you our business. Wonderful. So, but you had one big, so the point is one big, one startup trying to play against the giants is on its last breath, but I hope they raise the amount. They're selling vouchers. So although by the time you listen to this, which will be tonight, or Saturday night or Sunday, if it's not too late, go to the website, MyGroser, and see if you can still buy a voucher. I've bought my voucher already. I'm doing my part to help them because I think they can succeed. They just need a bit more runway, but they are struggling. But here on the other side, this other small startup, ZeptoExpress, has found a VC that is betting on them. I think you can create a niche here. So great, with that contrast, I will come to the end of our show. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again next week in Nadi Digital Economy Malaysia. Bye-bye.